In our modern world, the idea of hunting can seem like a relic from a distant past, a practice belonging to a time before supermarkets and settled communities. Yet beneath the surface of our urban lives, the roots of hunting run deep, woven into the very fabric of human history, ecology, and culture. For millions across the globe, from the arid hills of Rajasthan in India to the vast savannas of Kenya and Tanzania, hunting is not just a means of survival, it is a living tradition shaped by centuries of adaptation to harsh and unpredictable environments. Historically, hunting was the foundation of human existence. Before the first seeds were sown or the first villages built, our ancestors relied on their skill, patience, and knowledge of the land to track and harvest wild game. This was not merely for sport, but for sustenance, for clothing, for tools, and for the very survival of their families and communities. Over generations, hunting became deeply embedded in the culture and identity of countless societies. In Rajasthan, the knowledge of animal tracks, the stories of legendary hunts, and the rituals surrounding the chase are passed down from father to son, forming a living link to the past. Imagine a farmer in rural Rajasthan who wakes to find his most valuable goat, the one he was relying on to pay for his children's schooling, has been taken by a leopard in the night. For him, hunting is not a choice, but a response to a direct threat, a way to protect his livelihood and ensure the future of his family. Or picture a family in Kenya whose entire season's crop of maize, their primary source of food, is decimated by a troop of resourceful baboons. Here, hunting is a form of defense, a means to safeguard the fruits of months of hard labor from the relentless pressures of the wild. In Tanzania, a fisherman in his small canoe suddenly finds his vessel overturned by a territorial hippopotamus, a creature responsible for more human fatalities in Africa than almost any other animal. The act of hunting, in this context, is a matter of life and death, a way to reclaim a measure of safety in a world where the boundaries between man and beast are constantly tested. These aren't abstract scenarios, they are the harsh, everyday realities that force communities to make incredibly difficult decisions about the wildlife that lives alongside them, decisions that often involve controlling their numbers to protect human lives and livelihoods. This essay will take you on a journey to the front lines of this human-animal conflict, where the ancient practice of hunting endures not out of nostalgia, but out of necessity. We will explore the specific challenges faced by communities in these three distinct regions, understanding why animals like leopards, baboons, and hippos, while magnificent, can also pose a significant threat. The methods and tools of hunting have evolved, from the ancient skill of the bow and arrow to the high-tech precision of a modern rifle. Each technique reflects a deep understanding of the land, the animals, and the delicate balance that must be maintained. This is a story about more than just the hunt itself. It's about the intricate balance between protecting vulnerable animal populations and ensuring the safety and prosperity of the people who share their environment every single day. The core of this issue lies in a simple truth. Throughout history, as human populations have expanded and habitats have shrunk, people and animals have been forced into ever closer contact. This is not a new phenomenon, but one that has shaped the destinies of both species for millennia. This proximity inevitably leads to competition for resources, water, food, and space. In the past, as now, the struggle for survival has driven both humans and animals to adapt, to innovate, and sometimes to come into conflict. For the animals, it means adapting to a human-dominated landscape, often leading them to raid farms and villages. For the people, it means living with constant risk, a risk that can be mitigated through various means, including the carefully managed practice of hunting. The ecological impact of hunting is complex. In some cases, it helps maintain a balance between predator and prey, preventing overpopulation and the collapse of local ecosystems. In others, it is a last resort, a desperate measure to protect what little remains of a community's resources. By understanding the reasons, methods, and consequences of hunting in these contexts, we can gain a clearer picture of the complex challenges involved in modern conservation and human survival. Hunting endures not simply because it is tradition, but because it is a living response to the realities of history, ecology, and culture, a practice shaped by necessity, resilience, and the ongoing struggle to coexist with the wild. In the rugged Aravalli hills of Rajasthan, India, the leopard is both a revered and feared creature. Its presence is woven into the very fabric of daily life, shaping the rhythms and routines of the people who call these hills home. This magnificent cat, a master of camouflage and stealth, has adapted remarkably well to living on the fringes of human settlements. Leopards slip silently through the shadows, their golden coats dappled with rosettes that mirror the sunlit rocks and scrub, making them nearly invisible to the untrained eye. But this proximity is the very source of a deep and escalating conflict. The boundaries between wild and domestic blur, and every dusk brings a new tension as villagers brace for the possibility of a leopard's approach. For the local farmers and villagers whose lives are intricately tied to their livestock, goats, sheep, and calves, a leopard is not just a beautiful wild animal, it is a direct and devastating threat to their economic survival. Each animal represents months of labor, investment, and hope for a better season. When a leopard raids a pen at night, it doesn't just take a single animal, it takes away a family's savings, their insurance policy, and sometimes their only source of income for months to come. The loss is felt not only in the empty pen, but in the anxious faces of those who depend on these animals for their very survival. The financial losses inflicted by these predators can be crippling. A single attack can wipe out a season's worth of earnings, forcing families to borrow money, sell land, or go without basic necessities. A single goat or calf can represent a significant portion of a family's annual wealth, and repeated attacks can push them into severe poverty. The loss is not just monetary, it is a blow to pride, to tradition, and to the sense of security that underpins rural life. The conflict has intensified as the leopard population has grown, leading to more frequent and bolder raids on villages. Each new attack stirs old fears and deepens the divide between people and predator. This constant pressure has created a tense and fragile atmosphere where tolerance for the animals wears thin. Conversations in the village square often turn to the latest sighting, the most recent loss, and the growing sense of vulnerability. When people feel that their government or conservation groups are not adequately addressing their losses, they may be forced to take matters into their own hands, leading to retaliatory killings that further harm the delicate ecosystem and put both people and leopards at greater risk. The social fabric is strained as trust in outside help erodes. In this context, hunting is presented as a controversial but pragmatic solution. For some, it is a last resort, a way to reclaim control over their lives and livelihoods. It's not about eradicating the leopards, but about managing their population to restore a sustainable balance. Wildlife officers and local leaders work together, weighing the risks and benefits of each decision. By selectively removing individuals that have become problematic, those that repeatedly prey on livestock or venture too close to human dwellings, the immediate threat to the community can be reduced. This targeted approach is designed to protect both people and the broader leopard population. This targeted approach aims to ease the economic pressure on farmers and in doing so foster a greater sense of tolerance for the remaining leopard population. When a community feels heard and protected, coexistence becomes possible. The goal is to shift the dynamic from one of constant hostility to one of managed coexistence, where both humans and wildlife can find space to thrive. The landscape itself becomes a symbol of this delicate balance. Fields and forests, livestock and leopards, all sharing the same horizon. The decision to hunt a leopard is never taken lightly. Village elders gather, weighing the risks to their herds, their traditions, and the environment they depend on. It represents a last resort when other deterrents, such as reinforced enclosures or guard dogs, have failed. Every effort is made to protect livestock without resorting to lethal means. For the communities of Rajasthan, it is a difficult but necessary measure to protect their way of life. The social bonds between neighbors are tested and strengthened as they face these challenges together. The presence of a problem leopard creates a ripple effect of fear, impacting everything from a child's walk to school to a farmer's ability to tend to his fields after dusk. The sense of unease lingers long after the sun has set. By addressing the source of this fear directly, regulated hunting aims to create a safer environment, ensuring that the ancient relationship between the people and the wild cats of the Aravalli Hills does not end in tragedy for either side. The hope is for a future where economic stability, social harmony, and environmental health can coexist, where the leopard remains a symbol of wild beauty and the people of Rajasthan can continue their way of life with dignity and security. Stalking a leopard in the wilds of India is a test of both mind and body, a pursuit that demands not only skill and patience but also a profound understanding of the animal and its environment. The leopard, with its keen senses and elusive nature, is a master of stealth, making it one of the most challenging creatures to hunt or even observe in its natural habitat. To even begin the hunt, the tracker must become invisible, blending into the dappled shadows, moving with the rhythm of the forest, and masking every sound and scent. The hunter's clothing and gear are chosen to match the jungle's palette, and every step is calculated to avoid snapping twigs or rustling leaves. For those who choose a rifle, the selection of weapon is only the beginning. The hunter must also master the art of moving with the rifle, keeping it ready, yet never letting it catch the light or snag on branches. Every piece of equipment is checked and rechecked, for a single malfunction could mean a missed opportunity or worse, a dangerous encounter. Medium-caliber rifles like the .30-06 Springfield or the .308 Winchester are favored for their balance of power and control. These rifles are reliable in the thick undergrowth, where shots are often taken at unpredictable angles and distances. The hunter must be able to shoulder the rifle and fire with absolute steadiness even after hours of tense waiting. The recoil must be manageable, allowing for a quick follow-up shot if needed, as leopards rarely offer a second chance. In the densest thickets, where visibility drops to mere meters, some hunters opt for the .375 H&H Magnum. Its stopping power is crucial if a leopard charges from close quarters, a scenario that tests nerves and reflexes to the limit. The timing of the hunt is dictated by the leopard's habits. These cats are most active at dawn and dusk, slipping through the shadows with barely a sound. The hunter must match this schedule, moving under cover of low light when every sense is heightened and every movement is deliberate. High-quality optics are indispensable. A scope that gathers the faintest light can reveal a leopard's outline in the gloom, turning a fleeting glimpse into a clear shot. The right scope, designed for low-light conditions, is not just an advantage, it is a necessity. It can mean the difference between a clean, ethical shot and a wounded animal lost to the jungle. Ambush is the most common technique. The hunter waits in a concealed blind or high in a tree stand, often overlooking a baited area. The bait, such as a goat carcass, is placed with care, positioned to draw the leopard into a clear line of sight while keeping the hunter hidden from view. A stable shooting rest, be it a bipod, sandbag, or shooting sticks, is essential. The hunter must be able to hold the crosshairs steady on the leopard's shoulder or chest, waiting for the perfect angle before squeezing the trigger. For those who choose the bow, the challenge intensifies. Bow hunting a leopard is a test of primal skill, demanding the hunter to close the distance to within 20 to 40 yards. Close enough to hear the animal's breathing, close enough to be seen, if even a finger twitches. The bow hunter must move with the wind, using every scrap of cover, and freeze at the slightest sign of the leopard's attention. The shot must be quick, silent, and precise, for the margin of error is razor-thin. Hours may pass in absolute stillness, muscles cramping, sweat trickling down the face as the hunter waits for the leopard to step into the open. The discipline required is immense. One wrong move, and the opportunity vanishes. The equipment must be up to the task. A compound bow with a draw weight of at least 70 pounds is needed to drive a razor-sharp, fixed-blade broadhead deep into the vital organs, ensuring a swift and humane end. The target is always the heart-lung area, but with a bow, the shot window is smaller and the consequences of a miss are far greater. A wounded leopard is a nightmare, silent, vengeful, and capable of vanishing into the brush only to reappear in a flash of claws and teeth. The hunter must be ready for anything, nerves taut as wire. For this reason, hunting is rarely done alone. A small team moves as one, with a backup shooter always alert, ready to respond if the leopard charges or doubles back. Tracking a wounded leopard, especially after dark, is a task fraught with danger. The animal may circle back, using its knowledge of the terrain to ambush its pursuers. Every step is taken with caution, every shadow watched. Caution governs every action. The hunter pauses often, scanning the undergrowth, listening for the faintest sound, a snapped twig, a low growl, the whisper of movement. Wind direction is checked constantly, using powder or a blade of grass. The hunter must always stay downwind, for a single whiff of human scent will send the leopard melting away into the jungle. Stalking the elusive leopard is a discipline of total awareness of the land, the wind, the animal, and oneself. It is a pursuit that demands respect for the leopard's intelligence and power, and for the unforgiving wilds it calls home. In the agricultural heartlands of Kenya, a daily battle unfolds, one not just of man versus nature, but of survival against a foe that is powerful, cunning, and relentlessly organized, the baboon. These primates, with their sharp intelligence and social coordination, have become a formidable challenge for local farmers. To the eyes of tourists, baboons are a source of fascination, charismatic, playful, and seemingly harmless. But for those who work the land, these animals are a constant threat, capable of inflicting devastating losses. When a troop of baboons targets a maize field, their approach is almost militaristic. They move with purpose, stripping entire fields bare in hours, leaving nothing but broken stalks and shattered hopes behind. For many, this means the loss of an entire season's food supply. Research has shown that up to 87% of a farmer's crops can be lost to these raids. Such catastrophic losses push already vulnerable communities to the edge of starvation, threatening not just livelihoods, but the very fabric of rural life. The baboon problem doesn't end at the field's edge. These adaptable primates have learned to thrive in human environments, venturing boldly into villages and settlements. Driven by hunger and opportunity, baboons raid homes and storage sheds, searching for anything edible. Their nimble fingers pry open doors and windows, and their presence sows chaos wherever they go. In their search for food, they contaminate stored grain, scatter supplies, and leave behind a trail of destruction that can take days to repair. Their raids often escalate to property damage, tearing off roof tiles, breaking windows, and even dismantling parts of buildings. For many, the cost of repairs is a heavy burden, adding to the financial strain. The problem intensifies near urban fringes, especially during droughts. As natural food sources dwindle, baboons are forced to take greater risks, venturing deeper into human territory and increasing the frequency and severity of their raids. The financial toll is staggering. Across affected regions, property damage alone can amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars each year, a sum that can cripple small farming communities. Traditional deterrents, scarecrows, fences, and noise are quickly rendered useless. Baboons, with their intelligence and dexterity, learn to ignore or bypass these obstacles with ease. Scarecrows become little more than scenery, and fences are mere hurdles for these agile primates. The community is left in a constant state of vigilance. Men take turns patrolling fields day and night, sacrificing sleep and time that could be spent on other essential work. The relentless need for defense drains both energy and morale. Frustration mounts as the problem persists. Community meetings are filled with heated discussions and exhausted faces, all searching for a solution that will bring relief. In desperation, some communities have turned to hunting as a last resort. Bows and arrows are prepared, and strategies are discussed among the men, hoping to reclaim their fields and peace of mind. Bow hunting has become a common method for dealing with problem baboons. It is quiet, selective, and allows for targeting the most troublesome individuals. The focus is often on the large, dominant males who lead the raids. Removing these individuals can disrupt the troop's social structure, making them more cautious and less likely to return. When a troop loses its leader, confusion and hesitation follow. The baboons become wary, their raids less frequent and less organized, giving the community a much-needed reprieve. For many, this is not a choice made lightly. Controlling the baboon population is seen as a necessary act of survival, a way to protect food, property, and the future of their families in a landscape where every resource is fiercely contested. Yet the baboon's impact extends beyond human settlements. In the wild, they play a complex role in the ecosystem, dispersing seeds, preying on smaller animals, and competing with other species for food and territory. Their relationship with leopards is especially dramatic. Baboons are both prey and rival to these big cats. While leopards hunt baboons, the primates are vigilant, posting sentinels and using alarm calls to warn the troop of danger. Sometimes a troop will even mob a leopard, driving it away with sheer numbers and aggression. These interactions shape the behavior of both species, influencing hunting patterns, territory boundaries, and the delicate balance of the ecosystem. In response to the ongoing challenge, local communities continue to adapt. Stronger fences are built, new deterrents are tested, and strategies are shared among neighbors. The struggle is ongoing, but so is the determination to coexist with one of Africa's most intelligent and persistent animals. Hunting baboons with a bow and arrow is a pursuit that demands meticulous planning, unwavering patience, and a deep respect for the intelligence of the quarry. Unlike hunting larger, less wary animals, baboons are highly social, incredibly alert, and quick to sound the alarm at the slightest hint of danger. Success in this endeavour is not a matter of brute force, but of outthinking and outweighting the troop. Preparation begins long before the hunt itself. The hunter rises before dawn, carefully inspecting every piece of equipment. Broadheads are sharpened to a razor's edge, arrows are checked for straightness, and the bow is tuned for silent, flawless operation. Every detail matters, because a single mistake can mean the difference between success and failure. The first and most crucial step is scouting. The hunter spends days, sometimes weeks, glassing the landscape from hidden vantage points, using high-powered binoculars and spotting scopes to observe the baboon troop from afar. He studies the troop's daily routines, noting when they leave their sleeping cliffs, where they travel, and how they interact with their environment. Hidden trail cameras may be set up to record their movements at all hours, providing invaluable data on their habits. The hunter identifies the well-worn trails the baboons use to move between their roosts and feeding grounds, often the edges of farmland where crops are an irresistible draw. By mapping these routes and recording the timing of their movements, the hunter can predict with remarkable accuracy where the troop will be at any given hour. This knowledge is the foundation of a successful ambush. Once a promising location is chosen, the hunter constructs a blind, sometimes using only natural materials, other times employing lightweight camouflage netting or portable hides. The goal is to disappear into the landscape, becoming just another shadow among the trees and rocks. Natural features like dense thickets, termite mounds, or fallen logs are used to break up the hunter's outline and provide cover from the sharp eyes of the baboon sentinels. Rocky outcrops and boulders offer additional concealment, allowing the hunter to remain hidden even as the troop draws near. Wind direction is critical. The hunter tests the breeze with fine powder or a handful of grass, always positioning himself downwind of the baboon's expected approach. Their sense of smell is acute, and a single whiff of human scent will send the entire troop fleeing. Full camouflage is essential. The hunter wears clothing that matches the local vegetation, covers exposed skin, and even masks his scent with earth or specialized sprays. He settles in motionless, sometimes for hours on end, waiting for the perfect moment. The baboon sentinels are always on guard, scanning for the slightest movement or sound. The hunter must control his breathing, suppress every urge to scratch an itch or shift position, knowing that even a subtle mistake can ruin the entire setup. The moment of truth demands absolute self-control. As the troop approaches, the hunter's heart pounds, but he waits, muscles tensed, until the right individual steps into a clear shooting lane. Patience is everything. Drawing the bow too early risks detection. Waiting too long may mean missing the shot altogether. The hunter selects his target, often a large, dominant male, and waits for a broadside presentation, ensuring a clean, ethical shot. Only when the baboon is within effective range and completely unaware does the hunter draw his bow, the movement slow and deliberate, every muscle under control. The aim is for the heart-lung area, maximizing the chance of a swift, humane kill. Precision is vital, and the hunter's training and discipline are put to the ultimate test. Modern technology plays a significant role. A compound bow with a draw weight of at least 50 pounds, equipped with razor-sharp broadheads, ensures the arrow has the power and penetration needed for a clean kill. Advanced hunters take strategy even further. They analyze maps, use GPS devices to mark baboon trails, and experiment with different ambush setups to adapt to changing conditions. One sophisticated method is shadow hunting, following the troop at a distance, using terrain features for cover and moving ahead to intercept them along their predicted route. This requires not only skill but also a deep understanding of animal behavior and the landscape. Baiting is another effective tactic. The hunter may place a small pile of fruit or maize in a clearing, creating a controlled shooting lane. Trail cameras can monitor the bait site, revealing the best times for an ambush. Some hunters use tree stands, gaining elevation for a better vantage point and reducing the chance of being detected by scent or movement. Others employ technology such as electronic callers, playing recorded distress calls of a juvenile baboon to lure curious adults into range. This method can be highly effective, but requires careful timing and placement to avoid spooking the troop. Ultimately, every technique, whether traditional or modern, relies on a profound understanding of baboon behavior, the environment, and the careful integration of technology and fieldcraft. The hunter's journey is one of constant learning, adaptation, and respect for the wild. In Tanzania, where the rivers pulse with life and danger, an estimated 520,000 hippopotamuses rule the waterways. These massive creatures are not just a part of the landscape, they are a force to be reckoned with, shaping the daily rhythms and survival strategies of those who share their territory. The relationship with this river giant is one of deep respect and, honestly, profound fear. For generations, local fishermen have passed down stories of close calls and narrow escapes, warning newcomers never to underestimate the hippo's power. Despite their somewhat comical, placid appearance, hippos are fiercely territorial, dangerously aggressive, and notoriously unpredictable. One moment the river seems calm, the next a hippo erupts from beneath the surface, jaws wide, moving with astonishing speed. They are considered one of the most dangerous large animals in Africa, responsible for a significant number of human injuries and fatalities each year. In fact, more people are killed by hippos than by lions or crocodiles. The conflict is most acute along the rivers and lakes, where people rely on the water for fishing, transportation, and their daily needs. Every trip onto the water is a calculated risk, and the stories of survival are as harrowing as they are common. In recent years, a surge in hippo attacks has been reported. One fisherman recalls the moment his small wooden boat was suddenly lifted from beneath, flung into the air by a bull hippo defending its territory. He survived by clinging to a floating log, watching as the hippo circled, ensuring the threat was gone before disappearing into the murky water. Many incidents involve fishermen's boats being overturned and their occupants attacked. The hippo's massive jaws can crush a canoe in seconds, leaving little time for escape. And it's important to note the danger is not confined to the water. Hippos are just as formidable on land, especially when they feel threatened or cornered. At night, hippos leave the rivers to graze, often traveling several kilometers inland in search of food. Their paths are unpredictable, and their presence is often betrayed only by the sound of heavy footsteps and the rustle of grass. During these nocturnal foraging trips, they frequently wander into farmland, drawn by the scent of crops and the promise of an easy meal. In a single night, a hippo can destroy an entire field of crops. Farmers wake to find their hard work reduced to trampled stalks and muddy footprints, the devastation complete. A multi-ton hippo trampling through a rice paddy or a vegetable garden leaves behind a trail of complete devastation, sometimes wiping out a season's harvest in hours. For many, this means the loss of a year's income and the threat of hunger. The struggle to protect crops from hippos is a nightly battle, with farmers building barriers and lighting fires in hopes of deterring these giants. Encounters with people on land during these times are especially dangerous. One villager tells of walking home at dusk only to come face to face with a hippo emerging from the shadows. He froze, remembering the advice to never run in a straight line, and managed to escape by darting through a thicket, the hippo crashing past in pursuit. A startled or cornered hippo will charge with surprising speed and immense force, capable of outrunning a human over short distances. In such moments, survival depends on quick thinking and luck. Some have survived by climbing trees or using large rocks as barriers, but many are not so fortunate. Given the scale of the threat to human life and property, communities have come together to discuss solutions and share survival strategies. Some villages have established lookout posts along riverbanks, while others use noisemakers to warn of approaching hippos. The Tanzanian government has implemented regulated hippo hunting campaigns, a response to the growing number of attacks and the need to protect both people and livelihoods. This is not an open-ended cull, but a carefully managed program designed to protect communities in high-conflict zones and control the population. Rangers are trained to identify problem animals and act swiftly to prevent further tragedy. It's a complex issue, as the hippopotamus is listed as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Their role in the ecosystem is vital. They shape riverbanks, create channels, and provide habitats for fish and birds. Therefore, any management strategy must be executed with extreme care, balancing the immediate need for human safety with the long-term conservation goals for the species. Wildlife managers work closely with local leaders, striving to find solutions that protect both people and hippos. The goal is to ensure that these giants remain a part of Tanzania's wild heritage without becoming a daily threat. This makes regulated hunting a critical, albeit controversial, tool in the nation's wildlife management strategy. The debates are passionate, with some arguing for stricter controls and others for more aggressive action. The ethical guidelines for these hunts often focus on selectively targeting older non-breeding males, sometimes referred to as rogue bulls, who are often more solitary and aggressive and most likely to cause trouble. By removing these specific problem animals, the immediate danger to a local community can be significantly reduced without impacting the overall breeding population. In some cases, tranquilized hippos are relocated to less populated areas, giving both people and animals a chance to coexist in peace. The revenue generated from these regulated hunts is also presented as a key component of the conservation model, with funds being channeled back into anti-poaching efforts and community development projects. These funds support anti-poaching patrols, education, and infrastructure, helping to build a future where people and hippos can share the land more safely. It is a system designed to make the wildlife a valuable asset to the people who must live alongside it, turning a source of fear into a foundation for coexistence. Through careful management, education, and respect for the hippo's place in the ecosystem, Tanzania strives to ensure that these river giants remain both a wonder and a challenge for generations to come. Embarking on a hippopotamus hunt in Tanzania is not a spontaneous adventure, but a meticulously regulated and orchestrated process shaped by a complex web of legal, ethical, and practical requirements. Every step is designed to ensure that hunting aligns with the country's conservation goals and international obligations. The Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority, or TAWA, oversees every aspect of the hunt. Their officers rigorously check permits and documentation, ensuring that only those with proper authorization can participate. This strict oversight is essential to prevent illegal hunting and to protect vulnerable species. Before setting foot in the bush, a prospective hunter must book a licensed safari with a minimum duration of 21 days. This extended period is not arbitrary. It is mandated to allow for thorough supervision and to minimize the risk of overhunting. Each hunt is conducted under the watchful eyes of accredited professional hunters and government game scouts. These individuals are not only experts in tracking and safety, but also serve as guardians of the law, ensuring that every action taken in the field is both ethical and legal. The lengthy safari reflects the patience and discipline required. Hippos are elusive and dangerous, and a successful hunt demands careful observation, respect for the animal, and a deep understanding of the environment. The financial aspect is equally significant. Securing the right to hunt a hippo involves a substantial investment which serves both as a deterrent to casual or irresponsible hunting and as a means to fund conservation efforts. The government trophy fee for a hippopotamus begins at approximately $1,500. This fee is just the starting point, representing the value placed on the animal and the administrative costs of managing its population. Additional levies are imposed for community development and conservation, quickly raising the total cost to over $3,300. These funds are vital for supporting local communities and maintaining the delicate balance between wildlife and human interests. Beyond government fees, the hunter must also pay for the safari itself. This includes accommodation, food, transportation, and the expertise of the professional hunting team. For example, a 7-day combination hunt for both a hippo and a crocodile can average around $25,000. This price reflects not only the exclusivity of the experience, but also the logistical challenges involved in such an expedition. Hunters who do not bring their own firearms must rent a suitable large-caliber rifle, often at a rate of $350 per day. The choice of weapon is critical, as hippos are among Africa's most formidable animals, requiring powerful and precise equipment. All these costs contribute to the national economy, providing essential revenue for wildlife management, anti-poaching patrols, and rural development. The timing of the hunt is another critical consideration. The government strictly regulates the hunting season to ensure sustainability and to protect animal populations during vulnerable periods. In Tanzania, the official hunting season runs from July 1st to December 31st. This window coincides with the dry season, when water sources shrink and animals gather in predictable locations, making them easier to monitor and manage. The dry season not only concentrates wildlife, but also reduces the risk of disease transmission and habitat damage, further supporting conservation objectives. Hunting outside of the designated season is strictly prohibited. Violators face severe penalties, including heavy fines, confiscation of equipment, and potential imprisonment. These legal consequences underscore the seriousness with which Tanzania approaches wildlife protection. Because the hippopotamus is listed under CITES, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, exporting a trophy requires additional international permits. This layer of oversight ensures that hunting does not threaten the species' survival and that all activities are transparent and accountable. A typical hippo hunt is a collaborative effort involving a professional hunter, skilled trackers, experienced skinners, and government scouts. Each member plays a vital role, from locating the animal to ensuring the hunt is conducted within the bounds of the law. The methods used are demanding and require both expertise and caution. Tracking hippos through dense bush or along muddy riverbanks is physically challenging and potentially dangerous. Two primary approaches are employed: setting up an ambush from the water, often using a canoe or a stable floating platform, or establishing a blind on land near the trails hippos use for their nightly grazing. Both methods require patience, stealth, and a deep respect for the animal's power and unpredictability. A unique and practical challenge arises if a hippo is shot in the water. The animal will sink immediately, vanishing beneath the surface. It can take anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes for gases to accumulate in the carcass, eventually causing it to float back to the surface. During this time, the team must remain vigilant, ready to recover the animal as soon as it appears. Retrieving a hippo from the water is a demanding and sometimes hazardous task, requiring coordination, strength, and experience. The process underscores the importance of teamwork and the practical realities of hunting such a formidable animal within the strict framework of Tanzanian law and conservation ethics. The notion that hunting can serve as a tool for conservation is, without a doubt, one of the most hotly contested issues in the world of wildlife management. At the heart of this debate are unlikely partnerships, alliances forged between government officials, local leaders, conservationists, and even professional hunters. These relationships are often fraught with tension, but they are also the crucible in which new conservation strategies are born. In countries like Tanzania, the government has entered into formal agreements with hunting organizations, positioning regulated trophy hunting as a central pillar of their national conservation strategy. These partnerships are not just bureaucratic arrangements, they are the result of years of negotiation, compromise, and at times outright conflict between those who see wildlife as a resource and those who see it as a legacy to be protected. The core argument for these alliances is economic. By creating a market for hunting permits, governments and their partners generate a powerful financial incentive to protect both animals and their habitats. The money exchanged in these deals is not just a transaction, it is a lifeline for conservation programs that might otherwise be starved of resources. International hunters, often accompanied by local guides and government representatives, pay substantial fees for the privilege of pursuing game. These funds flow through a complex web of agencies and organizations, each with its own stake in the outcome. The revenue supports everything from anti-poaching patrols to habitat restoration, but it also creates opportunities for corruption and mismanagement. On the ground, anti-poaching rangers, often recruited from local communities, form the front line of defense against illegal hunting. Their work is dangerous and demanding, requiring not only courage but also a deep understanding of the land and its inhabitants. The funding from hunting permits allows these rangers to be equipped, trained and paid, turning them into both protectors and at times enforcers of controversial policies. These alliances extend into the villages that border wildlife reserves. Here, local leaders negotiate with government officials and conservation groups over how the proceeds from hunting should be distributed. The promise is that these funds will offset the costs of living alongside dangerous animals, compensating for lost livestock, damaged crops, and the ever-present risk of conflict. When a portion of the revenue is invested in building infrastructure, schools, clinics, clean water wells, the relationship between people and wildlife begins to shift. Animals are no longer seen solely as threats, but as assets whose presence brings tangible benefits to the community. In these moments, the alliance between conservationists, local leaders, and hunters becomes visible. Villagers gather to watch a leopard from a safe distance or discuss the presence of a hippo near the river, weighing the risks and rewards of sharing their land with such formidable neighbors. This approach, known as community-based conservation, is built on the idea that those who live closest to wildlife should have the greatest say in its management. By giving local people a direct stake in the survival of animals, these alliances aim to transform them from reluctant hosts into active guardians. But these partnerships are not without their rules. Ethical guidelines are established and enforced by both government officials and professional hunting guides, who must balance the demands of their clients with the long-term health of animal populations. Selective harvesting is a cornerstone of these agreements. The focus is on targeting older post-breeding males, animals that are often solitary, aggressive, and more likely to come into conflict with people. By removing these individuals, the alliance hopes to reduce human-wildlife conflict while preserving the genetic diversity and long-term viability of the population. Rangers and wildlife officials are often called upon to intervene in tense situations, removing aggressive animals from the edge of villages, or mediating disputes between community members and conservation authorities. This stands in stark contrast to the chaos of indiscriminate poaching, where every animal is a target and the future of entire species hangs in the balance. To maintain the integrity of these controversial alliances, professional hunters and government scouts work side by side, monitoring hunting activities and ensuring that ethical standards are upheld. Yet even the most carefully crafted partnerships are not immune to conflict. Disagreements erupt at community meetings, with some villagers and conservationists questioning whether the promised benefits are truly being delivered. Concerns about corruption, the fair distribution of revenue, and the actual impact on animal populations continue to fuel debate. Researchers and local leaders alike scrutinize the data, searching for evidence that these alliances are working as intended. The moral and ethical dilemmas at the heart of these partnerships are profound. For some, the idea of killing an animal for sport, even in the name of conservation, is unacceptable. For others, it is a necessary compromise in a world where resources are limited and the pressures on wildlife are immense. In the end, these controversial alliances are a reflection of the complex realities faced by governments and communities on the front lines of conservation. They are pragmatic solutions to problems that have no easy answers. By assigning economic value to wildlife, these partnerships offer a path forward. One that may be imperfect, but which for now remains one of the few viable options for securing a future for these animals beyond the boundaries of national parks. Our journey has taken us from the sun-baked rocky hills of Rajasthan, where the land itself seems to whisper stories of ancient leopards and the men who have watched them for generations, to the winding river banks of Tanzania, where the pulse of life is shared by both people and wild creatures, each shaping the other's fate. Here, the stories of conflict and coexistence are woven together, never simple, never black and white. Men rise before dawn, scanning the horizon for signs of movement, knowing that a single misstep could mean the loss of a goat, a cow, or even a life. As forests shrink and villages expand, the boundaries between the wild and the human world blur. Every day, the struggle for survival grows more intricate, as both people and animals compete for space, water, and food. For the Indian farmer guiding his cattle at dawn, the threat of a leopard is not a distant fear, but a daily reality. Each animal lost is a blow to his family's future. In Kenya, a father surveys his trampled maize field, the work of a hungry hippo or a troop of baboons. The loss is more than just food. It is hope, security, and the promise of another season. On the lakes of Tanzania, fishermen keep a wary eye on the water's edge, knowing that a submerged hippo can overturn a boat in an instant. For them, the wild is both a source of life and a constant danger. In these places, managing wildlife is not a theoretical debate. It is a matter of survival, a daily negotiation with nature's unpredictability. As dusk falls, families gather for a simple meal, sharing stories of the day, of close calls, of tracks found near the fields, of the ever-present wild just beyond the fence. In these communities, hunting is not a sport but a necessity. Men track footprints at dawn, not for trophies, but to protect their homes and herds. They build stronger pens, reinforce barriers, and work together to keep their animals safe, knowing that every precaution is a shield against loss. The challenge is to find a balance, one that allows people to thrive while also protecting the wild heritage that surrounds them. On one side, there is the urgent need to protect human life and livelihood. Children walk to school along dusty paths, watched over by elders who remember a time when the wild was farther away. Men travel to distant fields, carrying tools and supplies, always alert to the possibility of an encounter with a wild animal. When deterrents fail and danger grows too great, control measures, traps, fences, and sometimes regulated hunting become necessary. Yet on the other side, there is a duty to the wild. Forests and rivers are home to creatures whose lives are as intricate and valuable as our own. Leopards, baboons, and hippos, each is a marvel of adaptation, a vital thread in the tapestry of life. Their presence shapes the land, controls populations, and maintains the balance of entire ecosystems. But their numbers are dwindling, pressured by deforestation, expanding farms, and the relentless march of human progress. Every decision, every fence, every hunt, every field cleared, carries weight, shaping the future for both people and wildlife. The way forward is complex. Stronger barriers, smarter deterrents, and new technologies like motion sensor lights offer hope for peaceful coexistence. Careful land use planning can create buffer zones, giving both people and animals the space they need to thrive. Compensation schemes, when swift and fair, help families recover from losses and reduce the urge for retaliation. Partnerships between communities and conservationists build trust, turning former adversaries into allies. Regulated hunting, when managed wisely, can provide vital income for villages and fund conservation efforts, giving wildlife a tangible value. Conservation funds have built schools, clinics, and water wells, showing that the fate of the wild and the well-being of people are deeply connected. Markets thrive on wildlife tourism, and signs proudly display how hunting fees support village projects, creating a cycle of benefit for all. For many, these programs are a lifeline, offering hope and stability in places where resources are scarce and the future uncertain. The future of both people and wildlife depends on our ability to share the land, to see each other not as enemies but as fellow travelers on the same journey. There are no easy answers. Every solution brings new challenges, and every region must find its own path. What works in the grasslands of Africa may not suit the forests of India. Each landscape, each community, each species demands a unique approach. Success requires listening to the land, to the people who know it best, and to the scientists who study its secrets. It means facing hard truths, making difficult choices, and sometimes accepting uncomfortable compromises. The journey toward coexistence is long and winding, marked by setbacks and successes, by moments of fear and flashes of hope. It is a negotiation, sometimes tense, sometimes triumphant, between the needs of people and the needs of the wild. The survival of both depends on our willingness to adapt, to innovate, and to respect the delicate balance that binds us together. As the sun rises over the savannah and the villages below, we are reminded that the world of tomorrow belongs to those who can imagine a future where people and wildlife not only survive but thrive, side by side, sharing the earth in harmony. Leopards are among the most elusive big cats, moving like shadows through the forests and grasslands. Yet while their movements are often hidden from human eyes, their world is alive with messages, signals sent and received in a silent language that only those attuned to the wild can fully understand. Central to a leopard's life is its territory, a carefully defined area that can stretch for many kilometers. To mark these boundaries, leopards rely on a sophisticated system of scent marking. By rubbing their cheeks against tree trunks, scratching the bark, and spraying urine on rocks and foliage, they leave behind a signature, a chemical announcement that warns rivals and signals their presence to potential mates. Scientists studying these markings have found that the scent contains unique information, the age, sex, and even the reproductive status of the leopard who left it. Vocalizations are another key part of leopard communication. The iconic rasping cough, a deep soaring sound that echoes through the night, serves as a long-distance call, warning other leopards to stay away or alerting them to the caller's presence. Cubs use softer mews and purrs to communicate with their fathers, while adult males sometimes growl or snarl during territorial disputes. Leopards are solitary by nature, but their lives are intertwined with those of other animals. They share their domains with hyenas, jackals, and baboons, each encounter a careful dance of risk and reward. When a leopard makes a kill, it often drags its prey high into the branches of a tree. This not only protects the meal from scavengers, but also sends a message: this patch of forest is claimed. Scientific studies using camera traps and GPS collars have revealed just how complex these interactions can be. Male leopards patrol vast territories, overlapping the ranges of several females. They avoid direct confrontation by timing their movements and reading the messages left behind on the landscape. Even among rivals, conflict is rare. Most disputes are settled through warning signals and displays rather than open aggression. In the silent world of the leopard, every scratch on a tree, every scent marking, and every vocalization is a piece of an intricate puzzle. These secret signals help leopards survive, hunt, and raise their young in a world where competition is fierce and the margins for error are razor-thin. By unraveling the mysteries of leopard communication, scientists gain new respect for these remarkable animals and for the delicate balance that keeps the wild world in motion. In the intricate world of the wild, the relationship between leopards and their prey is a delicate dance of life and death. Leopards, with their unparalleled stealth and agility, have evolved to become master hunters. But what exactly goes into the art of the hunt? Leopards are opportunistic predators, meaning they will hunt a wide variety of animals based on availability and ease of capture. Their diet includes antelope, deer, warthogs, and even smaller mammals like hares and birds. The choice of prey often depends on the leopard's age, size, and experience, as well as the specific environment they inhabit. The hunt begins with careful stalking. Leopards use their acute senses of sight, hearing, and smell to locate potential prey. They move silently through the underbrush, using every bit of cover to their advantage. Their spotted coats provide excellent camouflage, blending seamlessly with the dappled light of the forest or the tall grasses of the savanna. Once within striking distance, the leopard's muscles coil like a spring. Timing is crucial. A single misstep can alert the prey and turn the tables. When the moment is right, the leopard launches itself with explosive power. Its powerful forelimbs and sharp claws secure the prey, while a swift bite to the neck or throat delivers the fatal blow. However, the hunt is only part of the story. Leopards must also navigate a landscape filled with other predators and scavengers. Hyenas, lions, and even wild dogs pose constant threats, eager to steal a hard-earned meal. To protect their catch, leopards often drag their prey high into the branches of trees. This not only keeps the food out of reach, but also minimizes the scent trail left on the ground, reducing the risk of attracting unwanted attention. Survival in the wild demands more than just physical prowess. Leopards must also be strategic, adapting their hunting techniques to different environments and prey behaviors. For instance, in areas with abundant water sources, leopards might ambush prey during their visits to drink. In more open landscapes, they rely on the cover of night to conceal their approach. The relationship between predator and prey is a constant game of adaptation. Prey animals have evolved their own defenses, such as heightened senses, speed, and the ability to detect and evade predators. This ongoing arms race shapes the behaviors and characteristics of both hunter and hunted, driving the evolution of species over generations. Understanding these dynamics gives us a deeper appreciation for the complexities of the natural world. It highlights the fine balance that exists in ecosystems, where every action has a ripple effect, influencing the survival and prosperity of countless species. As we continue to study and learn from these interactions, we gain valuable insights into the resilience and adaptability of wildlife. It reminds us of the intricate web of life that connects us all and the importance of preserving these fragile ecosystems for future generations. In the end, the dance of predator and prey is a testament to the beauty and brutality of nature, a never-ending cycle that defines the essence of life in the wild. Across the forests and grasslands of India, the leopard faces a future filled with uncertainty. Conservationists are working tirelessly to ensure that this elusive predator continues to roam wild landscapes for generations to come. But what does it take to protect a creature so skilled at blending into the shadows? One of the primary challenges is habitat loss. As human settlements expand and agricultural lands grow, the natural territories of leopards are shrinking. This often brings leopards into closer contact with people, leading to conflicts over livestock and territory. In some cases, leopards may be killed in retaliation or become victims of poaching for their skins and body parts. To address these challenges, conservation programs focus on a combination of scientific research, community engagement, and technological innovation. Camera traps and GPS collars are now widely used to monitor leopard movements, providing valuable data on their habits and home ranges. This information helps wildlife managers identify crucial habitats and migration corridors, guiding efforts to create safe spaces for leopards to thrive. Local communities are also playing a vital role. By participating in awareness campaigns and reporting leopard sightings, villagers help conservationists respond quickly to potential conflicts. Compensation schemes for livestock losses, along with the promotion of leopard-safe enclosures, reduce the likelihood of retaliation and foster a sense of shared responsibility for wildlife protection. Despite these efforts, challenges remain. Illegal poaching, fragmented habitats, and the complexities of coexistence continue to threaten leopard populations. Yet stories of successful rescues, the release of rehabilitated leopards, and the recovery of degraded forests offer hope. The future of India's leopards depends on a delicate balance between human needs and the survival of this iconic predator. By combining traditional knowledge with modern technology, and by building trust between people and wildlife, there is a path forward, one where both can flourish in a shared landscape. Conserving the elusive leopard is not just about saving a single species, it is about preserving the intricate web of life that sustains entire ecosystems, and in doing so, securing a future where the wild heart of India continues to beat strong. As the sun slips behind the dense canopy, a hush settles over the Indian jungle. But beneath this veil of darkness, life is anything but still. The night belongs to the leopard, a master of shadows, moving silently through moon-dappled corridors. His golden eyes scan the undergrowth, every muscle taut, attuned to the slightest rustle or scent on the breeze. Elsewhere, spotted deer gather in alert clusters, their ears flicking at every sound. A lone sambar pauses at a waterhole, senses heightened, aware that danger could emerge from any direction. Overhead, an owl glides from branch to branch, scanning the ground for the scurrying of rodents below. The leopard's padded paws make no sound as he stalks his prey, weaving between ancient tree trunks and tangled vines. He is not alone in his pursuit. Wild boars root through the leaf litter, searching for fallen fruit and insects. A civet slinks along a log, its nose twitching at the promise of ripe berries. In the thickets, langur monkeys huddle in the safety of treetops, their calls fading into uneasy silence. Each creature plays a role in this nocturnal symphony. The leopard's hunt shapes the movements of the herd, keeping populations healthy and alert. The prey, in turn, shape the forest by grazing and dispersing seeds, sustaining the plants that shelter all who dwell here. Suddenly the stillness is broken. A burst of hooves, a flash of movement, and the chase is on. Whether successful or not, the leopard melts back into the night, leaving only paw prints and a ripple of tension in his wake. As dawn approaches, the jungle quiets once more. The leopards retreat to their hidden lairs, and the creatures of the day begin to stir. In these hours of darkness, a delicate balance unfolds, one that sustains the wild heart of India and all its untamed inhabitants.